Okay, so we moved on to page 3. So page 3, we're still going to be going through the same steps. Do we want to do GCF? Do we want to do the box? Or do we want to do the quadratic formula? That's pretty much the ones that we're working with so far. Oh yeah, don't forget square roots. Okay? Alright, now with this one here. If I set up, and for you guys in Mr. McMahon's class and other classes, we're going to do the x. Okay, right now. Now, I'm going to think about doing the box. Okay, for you guys in my class. That would be the first number times the last that goes up here, 43x squared, and then the middle number goes on the bottom. Basically what you're doing is the same thing. You're figuring out two numbers that will multiply to 43x squared, but those same two numbers will add up to 16. Okay, now notice the problem already. First of all, 43 is a prime number. That means there's no other number you can divide into 43 other than 1 in itself. So I can't multiply 2, I can't multiply 3, I can't multiply anything else. So there's no two numbers that are going to add up to 16 and still multiply. So I'm going to go ahead, from what I've learned so far in this class, is just use quadratic formula. Okay, so A is 1, okay, B, 16, C, 43. Now, I'm going to stop. I want you to stop the video, and I want you to figure this out on your own. Okay? Find the quadratic formula, okay, if you have it from the last problems, and plug it in, and you see if you get the right answer. Okay, so you should have tried it on your own. So now, let's set it up. -1 times, remember it's going to be b's next, so 16, plus and minus, b squared, so 16 squared, minus 4, times a, which is 1, times c, which is 43, okay, all over 2 times a, which is 1. Okay, so let's simplify. -1 times 16, -16, plus and minus. 16 squared, I don't really know what that is right now, so I'm going to do it real quick. Forget what that is. That gives us 9, and 1 times 16. So 6, 5, so 256, all right? 256 minus 4 times 1, 4, times 43. Let's see, that's 172. So minus 172. 2 times 1 on the bottom, 2. Okay, still have 16 out here. 256 minus 172. Okay, we have 4. Take 1 away from there. Okay, then we'll have 8. And so 84. All right. So now here's the problem. If I take the square root of 84, I'm going to get a decimal number. So that means you're going to need to bust out a calculator. All right. So if you punch in the square root of 84 right now, you get a decimal. Okay. But first, we still need to split it. Okay. Once you're in this spot, -16. Okay. Plus square root of 84 over 2, and then -16 minus square root of 84 over 2. Okay. Now let me show you how to do it on the calculator. Okay, so now we're going to figure out that last solution. So now we're going to do -16. Oh, remember, I had a square root. So if we go back to your problem, you had not a square root, you had a fraction there. So what you do on this calculator is you're going to push this fraction button. Okay, you bring up some options, and you're going to want to pick the fraction option. Just click enter or click your mouse pad. Now the first thing was -16, and we're going to do plus the square root. So plus square root of 84. And we'll do all that over 2. Okay, press enter. There's your first solution. Okay. So then we want to round that to -3. We want to round to the nearest hundredth, so we're going to stop at this 1. Look at the 7. The 7 makes the 1 go up to 2. So then we'll just have -3.42. Okay. Now what we want to do is the same thing. So I want to subtract square root of 84. So what I do is I go up to the problem, or to the expression there, and click on it. And then it'll copy it. Click over, and now I've got minus, and do the same thing. Okay, so now, remember, I want to round to the nearest hundredth. So the eighth is our hundredth. And we look at the 2. Does the 2 make the 8 go up? No, it does not, because it's 4 or less. Okay, so our second answer solution will be negative 12.58. Okay, so again, after we looked at our calculator, first answer from this is going to be x equals negative 3.42. Okay, and then the second one was going to be negative 12.58. Okay? Okay, let's go on to the second one, or number 9. Now, right away, I noticed that there's one term on one side and one on the other. And there's no x term, okay? We only have a squared term, okay? Or x squared term. So I'm thinking right away I can do square roots. But in order to do a square root, x squared has to be by itself. I have to get rid of the 3. So I'm going to divide 3 on both sides. Okay, and I'm going to show you if you can actually do square roots on this, on the last page as well, on number, what was that? Number 6. Okay, divide 3, x squared equals 75 over 3, 25. And now we just square root both sides. Square root of x squared is x, square root of 25 is 5. Okay, but remember, when you square root something, you have plus and minus, so that means x is equal to 5 and negative 5. Okay, so don't forget, you square root something, you have plus and minus. That's why when we do the quadratic formula, we have this plus minus here because we're taking the square root of a number. Okay, which it means that we have 2 different solutions. Okay, so there's your answer. All right. All right, so now let's do number 10. So remember, we first want to look at this like what quick method could we do? Could we do GCF? Could we do box? Could we do the quadratic formula? Now in this case, I've got 3 terms here, so right away I'm thinking 3 terms. I have 2 x terms. I'm thinking I'm going to do the box method. Okay, so let's try the box. So I set up my box. Okay, remember the first term again goes here, the first box. Last term goes in the last box. Then I'm going to take these 2 terms, multiply those together. What two numbers multiply to 68, but then also add up to 4? Okay, well let's go down the list. Okay, remember it has to add up to negative 4. That's how the sum has to be. Okay, so 1 times 68, 2 times, let's see, 34, 3 times, looks like 3 doesn't go into that number. Okay, 4, let's see how many times does 4 go into that number. It doesn't go into actually 68, okay? So how about 5? 5 doesn't work, 6 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work, 8? Maybe 8 will go? No, 8 doesn't work either. 9, 10, 9 doesn't work, 10 doesn't work, 11. This is a hard one. This is something you kind of have to think about for a little while. Okay, 12, no. 13, let's see, 13. 13, 68 divided by 13. Okay, I think it's 5, yeah? No, that doesn't work either. All right, so 14. I'm doing this in real time because sometimes it's how long it takes us to figure it out. Because I'm telling you right now, these aren't going to work. Because they have to add up or subtract. We have to subtract those numbers to get negative 4, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to keep working. 14 times 5, what does that give us? That's like 70, so not quite. 14 times 6, no, that's still not going to work. Okay, 15, no, because it has to be a number with 5 or 0. 16. You know, this is getting really hard. So here's the thing. If this is giving you a lot of trouble, then maybe we need to use a different method. So let's go to not the box, but let's do the formula. So let's set that up. Okay, I'll do it one more time. We did it on the first page, let's do it one more time. Okay, so our A is going to be 1, our B is going to be negative 4, and our C is going to be 68. And again, like, if you're having trouble with one method, try a different one. Try the formula, okay? I don't want you to get stuck on one method if you can do another method quickly or get it started faster.
Okay, so now, again, -1, b, and our b is -4. Okay, let's actually use a different color. And actually, let's just write out the formula. It's all empty, everything empty. So there, b goes there. Okay, and let's use a new color here. We're now b. Then we'll have our another b here, -4 times a times c. Okay. All right, then we'll have that all of that over 2 times a. All right, so first, let's plug in our a where it's supposed to go. A goes here, so 1. N also goes there. Okay, and then we'll plug in our b, which goes here and here. And we have our c, which goes here, 68. Okay, so now let's work it out. So what I could do is I could just plug this in the calculator. And if you want to know how to work out the every step, then go to number 2. So let's actually let's go ahead and work it out. All right, so now let's do -1 times -4. It's going to be +4. +4 plus or minus. Okay, now on the inside here, I'm going to work this out on the side. So -4 squared, or -4 times -4 is 16. Okay, -4 times 1, okay, that's going to be -4 times 68. So 4 times 68. Okay, 6 times 4, 27. Okay, so 272. So negative 272. 16 minus 72. Well, when we have different signs, when we're subtracting, we would subtract. So 272 minus 16, that's going to be 256. Okay, so negative 256. Okay? And then all over 2 times 1, which is 2. So here's the deal. I'm done. Some of you guys are like, wait, don't you have to take the square root and then plus and minus? Here's the problem. If I have a negative inside of my square root, I have no real solution. Okay? So I can't do the square root of a negative number. Okay, that gets into something called imaginary numbers, but we're not doing that. So here, if you get a negative number, okay, first of all, if you punch that in the calculator, this is going to give you an error. Okay? Second thing is, if it is negative, your answer is going to be no real solution. And that's it for that one. Okay? Again, if you get a negative on the inside of your square root, no real solution. Okay? Next one. Okay, so now in this next one, I see 1, 2, 3 terms. Problem is, I don't want these 2 terms on the right side. So if you remember for number 1 or number 2 on the first page, every term on the right has to go to the left. So if I make this line over the equal sign, I want every term on that right side to go over here. And if I put it over there, it changes sign. So this is positive 4x. Now it becomes negative 4x. And remember, put it in order. X squared, x, and then your number. And also I want to move this 1, which is positive, so it becomes negative 1. So minus 1. And since I have nothing left over on this side now, it's equal to 0. Now I can work with it. Now I can set up a box, or try the box, or I could try quadratic formula. Okay, now if I tried the box, I'd be multiplying 2 times 1. Okay? I have to come up with a number that would multiply to 2, but then also add up to 4. There's no number that works. So right away I know I'm going to have to do quadratic formula. So let's just set it up. So we got A is 2, B is -4, and the C is -1. Okay, so -1 times our B, -4, plus and minus, square root, then -4, B squared, okay, that's our B, and then -4 times our A, which is 2, times our C, which is -1, okay, all of that over 2 times our A, which is 2, okay, punch it in the calculator, work out all the steps, okay, it's your choice. Okay, so let's real quick, -1 times 4. Okay, -4 squared, that's -4 times -4, which is 16. Okay, -4 times 2, -8, times -1, +8. So this becomes +8. 16 plus 8, 24. Okay, then all of that over 2 times 2, which is 4. Now this is again, like in number 2, we have to split it. So I'm going to put my first answer over here. So 4 plus square root of 24 over 4. And the next one would be 4 minus square root of 24 over 4. So now we need a calculator to figure out what's that decimal, okay? So I'm going to pull up my calculator. Okay, so let's go ahead and punch it in the calculator. So the first one we had was 4. Well, first of all, we have a fraction, okay? So what I want to do is hit that square button, the box button there, okay? And I got my fraction. Let's see if we can get it better, look a little better there. Okay, so now with the fraction, I have 4 plus, and then it'll be square root. Remember to get square root, push the yellow button, and then there's the square root. Okay, or you can push the boxes again, and the square root's also there. It's like the third option. Okay, so then square root of 24, and then click down. We're gonna go over 4. Okay, so that's our first solution. Click enter. Okay, again we do the same thing. Click up until you highlight it, copy it, click over until you get to the plus, and remember we have to do one that also has minus, and then click enter, and there's our second solution. Okay, so after we punch it in the calculator, so now we're gonna have here x equals, we want to round it. Okay, so it was 2.224. Okay, so again, we look at that number to the right of our 100th spot, and that's not going to change the 2. Okay, so we look at the 4, not going to change the 2, so this ends up being 2.22. Okay, then the second solution with the negative, I'm going to just write that here, okay, was negative 0.224. It also had the 4. And often when you do these quadratics, you'll have the same last 3 or 4 digits after the decimal. Okay, again, the 4 doesn't change it, so it's negative 0.22.